Bought the DUDU7 Android head unit to put into my 2017 C63S. I chose this as this should be one of the best models out there, and it also has optical output, which lines well with my future audio upgrade plans. Included in the kit are GPS antenna, USB-A port, universal cable set, another USB-A connector set, universal ISO harness, antenna adapter, 4G antenna, microphone, some disassembly tools, analog reverse camera loom, universal brackets and casing. Front camera. Interesting is that they haven't included an adjustable mount, which they have on the reverse camera. USB DAC. I recommend you throw it away immediately. This car CAN bus specific loom is probably not made by DUDU themselves, but it's a really high quality one. This is the LVDS box that accepts the video input signal from the car. This is the manufacturer's hand-modified vehicle-specific adapter for my non-standard screen size. The head unit clicks into place. The bottom is a bit warped, but luckily this stays hidden. Time to get the car inside. Don't you just love the V8 sound? Anyway, I started by removing the factory head unit, and for that you'd have to remove the dash speaker cover. Here you can see me use a combination of adapters, but I definitely recommend getting a long-headed separate screwdriver for this task. Next up is the center console. This is where I found out that the ambient lighting was an aftermarket install. Heaps of dangling wires. I routed these cables near to the factory amplifier. I recommend removing the glove compartment to make the job easier. Removed unnecessary RCA input wires. Ran the cables mostly one by one through the glove compartment opening. Use the teak filler rod to pass it through the opening and then pull the cables with it. Just in case, I wrapped up the connections with textile tape. Should avoid connections coming loose and helps with the rattling as well. USB connection in my case is for saving front camera recordings to a flash drive. Here I'm taking the remote wire from the universal cable loom. Time to plug the head unit in. On the reverse camera install, I will not show the cable routing to the trunk, but you can see it in my upcoming video. These plastic fasteners are quite a headache. You will definitely need to replace most of them after removal, so get them beforehand. This fascia panel has plastic fasteners, which you need to release from the trunk side. What I'm doing here is quite embarrassing. The universal Chinese camera does not sit deep enough in the factory camera pocket. Had to cut and file it down. Added a bit of sealant. I would also like to believe that it reduces the quantity of humid air entering the trunk structure. And if you're wondering why I'm using a pneumatic gun, I broke the manual one. Thoroughly zip-tied new cables to the existing wiring loom. Wouldn't want any rubbing there. I tapped into the power cable of the original loom. You have to retain the whole factory system for the pull-out camera to work. Here you can see how the camera sat before modification and what the output looked like. And this is how it looks after the modification. Not a lot better, but good enough. You can configure the reversing lines in almost any way you like. Now it's the front camera's turn. Remove the bracket it came with. And use the bracket that the reverse camera had. Of course, this mix and match doesn't allow for any adjustability, so I had to add some relief cuts. Oops. heated up the two-sided tape before application to achieve a stronger glue joint. The rear mirror adjacent cover is with a curved surface, so I removed the adhesive from the center to make it sit flush. And back to the car. Do not leave more than 20 to 30 centimeters slack for the cables, otherwise you'll spend a lot of time tugging the cables underneath the upholstery. Now for the best part. This is the cold boot up time. And this is booting up from sleep. These are the fan settings I have chosen. Should replace the fan with a bigger and more quieter one, because the DUDU one is quite noticeable. These are my audio settings. As I had the base audio 20 system, which is truly horrible, I opted for an aftermarket amplifier and speaker install. Hence the optical pass-through mode is activated and the equalizer is bypassed from the DUDU side. Note that this head unit assumes audio connection to aux mode. Other installs on YouTube talk about coding the aux in and making the connection internally, but I'm unsure about that method. Using the supplied USB DAC will patch up the sound quality in ways you would never anticipate, so please consult with the support from DUDU before purchase. Compared to the Burmester sound, the base Mercedes Audio 20 system doesn't have any optical cables to connect to, so keep that in mind as well. You can access all the factory menus if needed. You can watch YouTube on it, or if you wish, you can even game. But I can tell you, do not get the front camera. The quality is horrendous.
Gas.
For the first 2 months I had this, I ran the system via Android Auto, but I noticed right away that the frame rate and resolution was worse than the system could offer in a standalone setup. A couple of months have passed when I'm filming this, and it seems that that bug has been fixed. Now this is how I usually run the head unit. I make a hotspot with my phone, connect the head unit to it, and then also connect the Bluetooth for calls. DUDU does have the option to use its own SIM card, but I have been too lazy to try it out. Also, I'm not a fan of getting another SIM card. So let's round up the pros and cons. Performance. No lag, really responsive system. Screen. Nice and crisp, and it's a touch screen compared to the factory one. OEM-like look. No tacky external buttons or huge asymmetrical bezels. Good support. They reply in WhatsApp usually at the same day. Quick boot up. Pretty sure that DUDU dwarfs most OEM system nowadays. Over the air updates. I have received at least 2 in the 5 months I've had it. Very time consuming install. I would assume at least 2 full days with all the debugging if you're doing this for the first time. Microphone. Doesn't support factory microphone, and if you have an aftermarket audio system like I do, the echo cancellation will not work. You can hear the caller nicely, but the caller will hear their voice back to themselves. Audio integration. If you have a base audio 20 system, be prepared to buy an expensive decoder or install an aftermarket amplifier. No digital reverse camera support. You'll need to install an analog one, and the cable routing to the trunk lid is a big task. So what you think? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.